from him and let him tell us what being a youth means.
Hello, can I be heard?
Yes, sir, you can be heard. Go.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, youth is leadership. We can say it's the practice of exercising some kind of traits of development. Importance and modeling development. Youth is all about gaining skills and knowledge necessary to lead a civic engagement, either in a small community or at large, to reform, education reform, and then community changes. This is what youth is all about.
Thank you so much, sir, for your response on who a youth is. I'll also want to get the opinion of Comrade Salim on being a youth. What does being a youth means? Is it by age? Is it by certain arrangement? Maybe some people think that when they are married, they are no longer youth. So what do you think youth is, sir, Comrade Salim?
Good day, sir. Thank you very much for having me. First, I will start by commending NANS Zone for organizing such an educative and awareness program. Thank you very much. Keep it up, Mr. President. I hope this is the first one, and I hope many will come. Thank you very much. So I think when you talk about being a youth, there is no global consensus about what a youth is. Some, they see youth as the time you spend in your life, that means the age. And some people see youth as a state of mind. So there is no global consensus about what exactly the meaning of youth is. But to me, what I see based on, if you look at the two sides, I think the way we act and the way we think, this is how I see youth. You see that some people, they are of age, maybe beyond the usual age that we see as a youth, but you will see that mindset is still for the youth. So the way they think, the way they do things is the same with the youth. And we have some youth that are in the working age, or the so-called youth age, but the way they behave, their activities, and their mindset is not that of youth. So this is how I see youth from my own angle. It depends on how you think, and it depends on how you interact with people and how you go about with your life. So to me, this is what it takes to be youth, or this is being youth. Yeah.
Comrade Salim, thank you so much for your response.
You're welcome.
Like you said, being a youth requires more than just your age. Being a youth requires certain things. Being youth means you have the strength. A wise person say, I will do what I need to do in the time of my youth, because in the night time of my life, I will not have the strength and the opportunity to do. So thank you so much, Comrade Salim. Thank you so much, Associate Professor Dr. Sampson, for your response on being youth. And the next question I want to ask is on leadership. Now, people have several conceptions. It could be misconception about leadership. Some people have different views on what leadership is. Someone thinks being a leader is being in position. So I want us to have a clarity, and for our viewers as well, who will be listening to us, just to clarify what leadership is. Is it just having a position, or I'm the president of NANS, for instance? Is that what leadership is, or what exactly is leadership? So I will also throw that to Comrade Salim, and then I will take the response from Associate Professor Dr. Sampson.
I think, you see, when we talk about leadership, leadership is a very broader term, okay? Because we are all leaders, ranging from when you take it from the angle of your house, where you live with your family, you know, so leader in so many aspects. So that means in one way or the other we are all leaders.
Right.
So, so leader is about the position. It's all about how you conduct yourself. It's about the activities you do. You know, some people, you will see that they have this leadership quality in them without the position. I know a lot of people that you see them doing humanitarian services. So I feel leadership is all about serving people. So it's not necessary that you must have a position before you can serve the people. So leadership, I think, is totally different from the position.
Right. Great. So leadership is, you said, is serving people. It's not just occupying a
Yes.
position, which is very key today, because there are many youths who think leadership will be me holding this position. If I am this, I'm that, I am a leader. But then you mentioned key things. You said leadership qualities, and you also mentioned that leadership is about serving people. I want to hear from Comrade Dr. Sampson on what leadership is. He has been talking about leadership in different regards and almost on a daily basis. We want to hear your response on that, sir.
Yeah, I think Comrade Stalin had already given a very strategic definition of what we can say a leader is, because leader is very, in definition, it's very vast. There is a lot to talk about. But one of the very important things was what was mentioned, that leading is to serve. You know, encompasses, so many things. The ability to lead, not just to lead, to also lead with practical skills. Yeah, and such as, for example, a trait of goal-driven, loyalty-driven, ability to have some kind of self-motivation with confidence. So leadership is not, it's not just a position; it is your action to inspire others
Yeah.
to want to learn, to train, and to want to become essentiality of an exceptional,
Right.
leader that they have. So when leadership is being spoken about, definitely what comes to the mind is great innovation. Great innovation, creativity, ability to create what is not into an existence. That's what distinguishes between a leader also and a follower.
Yes. Thank you, sir, for your response. You actually mentioned something in the last speech. You said leadership is ability to create something that is not in existence and then bring it to existence. Now we have you. That was a time in my life, and I was feeling, and I was thinking, there are several things that needs to happen, but somehow how can I be able to tap into my inner resource to be able to know what is not happening that I need to bring to existence in my leadership. For instance, there you talk about ideas. So how can someone, or how can someone who is aspiring to be a leader, or how can somebody who is already leading be able to bring something that is not known or that is not existing into the realm of existence? Yes,
Yeah,
Dr. Kunsa.
thank you, Comrade, for that question. I think, well, a good example is when you are digging a well, you have a target, and your target is probably to get to where the water would be available to you or to others, not just to you. So, in order to be able to tap into the variability that is stored in the inside of us, we must know that you, as a leader, you would have to be prepared to encounter quite a lot of failures, quite a lot of mistakes, quite a lot of learning curves, troubles also, if we may, add that to it, because In all of this is when you begin to see what is not good, and if you put a persistency in forging ahead, all those experiences of that has been mentioned will definitely one way or the other bring it to the insight of what you got in the inside that you are even not aware of.
Right.
And by so doing, what you got in the inside that you are not aware of becomes a form of innovation. That's your environment need, that's your country need, or whatever capacity that they're serving.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable response on that. You mentioned experiences. We have instances where, especially the political field, we have instances where youth are being told, you don't have a track record, you need to go and get experience. I mean, there was a case like that where some people are aspiring for a political position and they are being told, you don't have what it takes, you don't have the experience. Now, how can someone who is coming new into the field, he needs to start something to get experience. So where are these experiences best built in leadership? Where does one build his experiences before he come out on a bigger scale? I would like to ask Comrade Salim on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade. I think experience is very key to leadership. It's important, actually. Wherever you find yourself, definitely people will try to check your record and see what you have done. So you see, looking at, for example, my elder brother, Comrade Associate Professor Dr. Samson Fadia, is somebody that have held positions in student unionism. Same with me. So you have to start from somewhere. And actually, I think the learning ground is the universities, or the tertiary institutions. At your student life is when you practice the leadership. Because I see no much difference between the mainstream politics and the student politics, because it's more or less the same thing. This system whereby we have the legislative councils, we have the executive councils in different fields or in different levels of our leadership. So I think the best learning ground for the youth is when you find yourself in tertiary institutions, that means the secondary institutions, either colleges or techniques or universities. So that's why I'm advising the youth at least to participate in student politics, because it's very important. It's where you learn how even the politics, it's how the structure is. You learn so many things about the leadership, and you will see that most of the youths that have not participated in the student politics or in the student leadership, they don't have much information about how the external politics is. But the moment you come into politics and the people in the politics or the people you are working together with, you realize that at least you have participated in student politics, you will see that there is a very special respect they give to people that participated in student politics. So I think universities, the learning ground. So I advise our youth to please participate in student politics in one way or the other. You don't have to, go for higher positions, but at least be in the system. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking about politics, although so far we've spoken about leadership on a general scale, but talking about politics that you just mentioned now, what do you think is the role of youth in politics? I mean, or in nation building. Let's give it this tag, because not everybody will eventually be a politician. We will have people who will be leading as economics and other aspects of the society that will be very beneficial. So when we look at the nation, let's take, for instance, our own country, Nigeria to be precise. What do you think is the role of youth in nation building, in the building of a society? Let's hear from Comrade Dr. Sampson.
Okay, thank you once again. I think Comrade Salim also answered a very strategic point there. That we are talking about youth in nation and national building. You can't build a nation without building from a very immediate environment, and that's what Comrade Salim said there. By associating it to the fact that we need to encourage ourselves, especially as students in colleges and universities, to take on leadership position or to be part of a member of certain organizations that will help to build you up and get you prepared for what is ahead. So now I'm talking about, what we should be expecting in the life of youth, in our lives, in order for us to be impactful for our nations. I mean, as a youth, we one thing that comes with youth is an exuberance. Youth should be able to take on a kind of a mindset of challenging status quo. Not wanting to break it negatively or to just behave, not as a respectful person. No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, youth should be able to get to a certain leadership role or activities whereby they challenge tradition, they challenge culture. When I say challenging these things, I mean positively. The ones that is causing degeneration should be challenged.
Yes.
When all these things is put into place, then we can then say that youth is coming up into taking up a responsibility. But if we are there, we just want to follow the norms that others has followed because we don't want to break culture, we don't want the tradition to remain the same. Then we will continue to see an improvised nation like we see now, not being able to continue to maintain growth. So if you look at a developed country, these are the things they do. They try to ensure that though the tradition is there, but you can challenge it. And that's why the youth environment is so
Yes.
tradition culture is very important to
Yes,
stay
thank you so much
responsible to
on that
leadership.
valuable response. I mean, particularly you mentioned tradition, changing tradition, because somehow many countries are used to tradition. It has to be this way. If you are trying to introduce something new, you might face some opposition, although new things are always opposed to people who don't understand them. So talking about tradition, I think it's really time that we begin to work on tradition, and that will begin from us as individuals. If we challenge tradition in our lives, then we can be able to promote that challenging attitude or habit into our leadership skills as well. So I would also want to, because this question is a little bit dynamic, and I'm sure it touches the heart of many young people. What is their role in nation building? Because we have people who have actually given up in for their countries. We have people making several statements that there's nothing good that can come out of their own country. So how can we be able to work in ensuring that they see their role in nation building? Comrade Salim?
Youths are the backbone of any country, and youth are the backbone of any development. So I think we have very important roles to play in nation building. But I don't know, the system is not favorable in our own country, because if you look at the set of leaders we have now, they are of age, because most of these leaders now, 20 years ago, even more than 20 years ago, those people were the leaders. They were in key positions in the leadership. So, and if you look at these leaders that we have now, most of them, their mindsets the way they think is same with that of 20 years back.
Yeah.
So actually, we need the youth now because the youth have fresh minds, fresh ideas. You see, for example, if you look at what we are doing now, is a really a good initiative by NANS Tokison. That means NANS TR Zone is following with the global changes. You know, the world is changing every day because this is the first time we are having something like this, which is
Yes.
good. And you see, this is something that is going with the trend that what the world is now. So that's why we need the youths in key positions in government, be it legislative arm of the government and the executive arm of the government. But if you look at the way the youths are represented now in different levels of government,
Yes.
actually we are not fully represented. You will see that, and these politicians during the election, the campaign period, if you will see, they use the youths a lot. More than 80% of the people who contribute to winning any election in the country, they are the youths.
Right.
But actually, we are not represented. If you go back to the state levels, you will see that the youth, they end up getting one position, maybe the senior special assistant to the governor on youth and students, and which is not going to bring any significant change to the decision of the leaders. So I think the best thing is for the youth to wake up and let's go into the politics. You know, we have to think not the same way these people are thinking, because the issue is now if you decide to go into any to contest, I mean, for any political position, the first thing they will ask you is how much do you have.
Yes.
They usually look at the financial aspect of that, but remember the people are the power. When you have the people on hand, because even those that will ask you about the financial, your financial status, they will tell you that you are going to use the money to see how you can get people to vote for you. You are going to use the money to do campaigns, and all these are ways to reach people. So I think if we can reach people and if youths can come together, because we have a very large percentage in the total population of the country. So if we will have confidence in one another and then we come together and decide that okay, now is our time, because I don't know if when the youth time is coming, because they keep telling us you are the leaders of tomorrow, the leaders of tomorrow, but
The tomorrow
we don't know.
arrive.
Yeah, the tomorrow, yes, yes. So I think my advice is we have to come up with a system. You see, for example, now we participated in student politics. Let's take, for example, now Stiarzon is a big family, and we are in different locations. You see, my elder brother now is in Canada, and we have so many people that are in different locations. So I think, for example, now if we can come do the same structure that we did for Zone to see how we can do something in Nigeria, I think that can work. So we have to start thinking like that.
Yes, talking about standing up and talking about because in your statement you mentioned that the youth need to stand up. Now, talking about standing up, do you think that to an extent we have a lot of youth who are afraid to stand up because somehow the youth are feeling within themselves that how can I be able to stand against this recycling of leaders? How can I be able to outshine, or how can I be able to stand amidst of people who have been there for God knows how many years? It could be some of them have been in the politics, especially in the nation, for maybe 50 years, or even economists. There are people who are there as sometimes we refer to them as gatekeepers. So, and someone who is coming as a young person and has not much more experience like they have had, how can someone like that be able to thrive in that situation? Maybe we would ask Comrade Dr. Sampson to assist with this question.
Well, thank you once again. I think anybody can try. It depends on our mindset. It doesn't matter what stage of the leadership you are. It's just all about training your mindset to, shifting away traditions that we bring, cause cause, deprivation of our home very self. I mean, when you look at the situation of things in Africa, to be specific in Nigeria, you can deduct that some have lost hope in the political space. Some of us have lost hope because, just like it has been mentioned, when you want to be partaker of any of these positions, you have to be thinking of millions. And you have to be thinking of also godfatherism and all of these things. If you cannot break through them, you probably will not even be able to get into your goal. But then, no matter what level of leadership we have, it is very, very important that we should have a mindset of breaking culture, of, like I said, positively. I hope we understand that. Because we cannot turn blind to the challenges that is overwhelming us right now. We all need to come out in our different spaces, in our different capacity, to really get involved, to develop a great system and maintain such. There was a time, Congress Salim can testify to this, when we were doing the NANS, processes in Cyprus, we were confronted with quite lots of challenges, not even from the external body alone, even from our home people. There was a time, I think we spent close to $5,000, all of us, to get the structure down. Individual were taxed. Some people spend even as if it's their own project. And then there come some people from our inner, from Nigeria. They told me to levy fee. These are things we need to say because they are important to build our nation. The problem is inside. They told me to levy a fee, of which I definitely rejected. And no, I can't do such because there is no reason to levy a fee on these people, in as much as we have not even made them to enjoy the objectives of why we started this, community. So then I became an enemy. They went as far as sending a memo to different rectors of the university that they misappropriated a certain amount of money. But as God will have it, those people knows me, the rectors knows me. They said, no, Samson, we believe that, this is a political attempt at you, that, we are sure you are not out of such a thing like this. So these are challenges that we are one of the challenges that we are going through and that we are still going to go through. Reason why I say we must be ready to break tradition, to break culture. Imagine a youth who because someone is highly there, and then you forfeited the truth. You kept the truth in your pocket because you don't want to offend. And then this is the mindset, mindset of Nigerians need to be reset. Mindset of Africa needs to be developed. And as a whole, when our mindset have an insight, this is when we can have a light around our darkness. And then we can become one of the, interesting country that is fast developing over there. Can I just add this to it? If you look at all the developed countries around the world, if you go into them, ask them what makes it work. Even for you to see that, you probably will need to put yourself in the system. But let me tell you, one thing that makes difference is just the system. The system is working. They will tell you the system is working, and you will see that the system is working. So that's different from us. We are more resourceful and blessed,
Right.
but our system is collapsing.
Right. Talking about system, you just mentioned system in your speech, and you said they have system that is working. Where do you think we stand as a nation and as youth? Someone said, a wise person said that the quality of every nation is the quality of its citizenry. the quality of every nation is the quality of the people that are citizens of that nation. So sometimes when we look at certain things happening in our nation, it makes us want to question. For some people, it makes them want to feel ashamed of being identified as being from such nation. So where do you think we stand in terms of system? And how can we go? And how far can we go? What will it take for that system to change if we don't have any functional system? And how long can that take? Because like Conrad Salim said earlier, he said, we've always been told we are the leaders of tomorrow. We've had that almost all through our life. But so many people, it's as if that tomorrow has not done yet. So where do you think we stand in terms of system for the nation? Yes, Comrade Salim.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I think our major problem in Nigeria is the system. Our system, actually, we need to reform our system, because our system is totally not a working system, actually, because we will all testify to this, that we have lots of credible people that went into politics and they are into the politics now, but you realize that they totally change. So that means something is wrong with the system. So, and I don't know what is wrong with the system, because I'm not in the system, but I'm thinking that actually we need to reform our system. Because this system, if you look at how things are, a system whereby 70% of the budget is spent on the current, only 30% or even less than 30% is going for capital projects. So I don't think this is a good system. And even if you look at, thanks God for the not too young too young to real deal, yes. Yeah. But even if you look at how the system was before, it's not really favorable to the youth. So actually, I think our system is not a working system, and how we can make it a working system is we need to change these recycle leaders. So if these people can go out of the system and we have fresh bloods in the system, so definitely we will have a change in the system. And what I mean by these people leaving the system,
that you said,
yes, sir.
There are several questions that will bring about when you mention fresh blood. Now, the first question you want to ask is, do we have that willingness? I mean, do we have enough people who are really wanting to go and change? I've discussed with several people who are young, and for some of them, they have given up, and they said there is nothing we can do about it. Some of them will be blank to tell you, if they go there, it's the same thing that they are going to. They want to partake in the national cake. So one question is, are we willing to actually, do we have youths who are really willing to go there and make that change? Do we really have that youth? How prepared are the youths to go and make the change? Yes, Comrade Salim.
Actually, even the youths, we have our own problem. Because we have some set of youths, we have been in different system of student politics, and we see different set of people. Some people, they are even worse than the leaders we have now. Because we have dealt with so many people. As my elder brother rightly mentioned, when he was the president, I was the Senate president, then we had a lot of issues, from so many people, which if you look at it is even worse than what we think the current leaders are doing. So, but you see, the system is really affecting even the youth, because in a situation where somebody that is not in any position, that means he is not in the system, and his main aim is to go into the system and take his own share from the system. So actually, we have a serious problem. Right. But I think there is hope in our youth. It's not a very large percent of the youth that are corrupt. Actually, we have so many youth, but the problem is who will start the movement. This is what matters. We have so many youth that what they need is just a little push. But they have the zeal and they have the capacity. So I think it's high time for us to start creating platforms whereby we will start thinking of how we can reform the system, how we can go into the system in mass. Because one the problem we have is that if you look at the system, we have some youth in the system, but also they are thinking the same way with what the people in the system are doing. So because I don't want to mention names, but if you look at the system now, we have so many youths in the system, but they are even doing worse than what some of the elders are doing. Because we have some governors with are youth, and they spend months without paying salary to their workers. So you see, this is really a bad representation. So I think if people of mindsets will come together and see how we can start from somewhere, to change a system is not something very easy. Maybe it will take years, but when we create a platform, if we have to start from somewhere. This is the reality. Yeah, we don't just have to sit down and just be looking at the system like this. We have to start from somewhere at least. Even if we don't have that hope that we can change the things, in the near future, but at least, it's something that is a gradual process. If you start the system and if you start the movement, I mean, and you have the trust and confidence of people, so some people can start can continue with the process you start, because this is how life is.
Right. Now, looking at Comrade Professor Samson has been, you have been for a long time within this leadership space, and somehow you've been involved into politics in different level, and then you've worked with a lot of people at the same time. You've seen different kind of people in leadership. So I want to ask you, sir, what is the way forward? I mean, when you take into account your experience among the youth, what do you think is the way forward? What do you think is the problem? And then what do you think will be the way forward for the Nigerian youth?
I mean, developing a scheme of ruggedity is the way forward. I'm sorry to use the word, because the truth is this: there is nothing that would change until everything changes, especially in Nigeria. So when nothing changes in the system, there will be no way forward. So answering that question, the way forward is simply youth engage, and engage. Youth, break those structures that is dividing us. Break and break. We have a good example of someone among of us, Comrade Richards. I was discussing with him recently. He's also already into political space with Showore or something. The truth is that he carried some things with him. He understood also the challenges we went through, even in our own space of leadership in diaspora. So then is to continue to break, to have a mindset of a champion, to have a mindset of serving others. When you have a mentality of serving others, your capacity increases in your traits, in your dealings, and even in your processes. For example, to the glory of God, I've been in position whereby people passes through my office all the time. And when these people pass through, because they are from my tribe, they believe that they need to get something tangible from me. They believe that we need to talk different. They believe that I need to treat them in a certain way. But there are occasions that I've disappointed them, because my core value and focus is to ensuring that we are prepared as the leader of tomorrow that we are called. So way forward is that we, the youth, need to be rejuvenated, like Comrade Salim said. We need to first of all break our our kind of mentality that is backward. We need to make up our mind that it's not all about us. We need to also know that posterity will talk about us. So then leadership is all about developing life and developing and developing. So it's not just all about occupying space and then having that title of being a leader in a certain position. So it's a mindset. Ruggedity is the key, and that's the way forward.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your response. You mentioned we being very rugged, and I understand that in that ruggedity that you mentioned, there will be a lot of us becoming intentional and trying to put away our fears and our limitations, trying to tell ourselves that we can also do it, that despite the challenges and despite the system and the obstacles that we have in front of us, that we can actually achieve this height. And I'm sure this will be a very great encouragement to the youth, our viewers, people who will be watching afterwards. They will really be encouraged in all of this. Now, what do you think will be the advice to youth who think their contribution is inconsequential? There are people who don't believe in themselves that much. They are okay to go with the status quo. So what will be the advice to people who think that their contributions will be inconsequential in making a difference in the nation? Because people always want to start big, especially with youth. From your experience and working with youth, you would know that people just want to start and become big at the same time. So what do you think would be the advice for these youths? Yes, this Professor Comlis.
Okay, thank you. Well, if we are going to be able to, talk about advice, we first of all must categorize who we are, because they will probably have different, how do I put it? Different understanding of what it is when you are advising them. Because when you advise someone who has a mind of certain, who has a target of certain, of things to achieve, I can tell you at times your advice will not go a long way, or it will even have any effect. So then, I would say that my advice is directed to the youth that are focused, who wants to really understand how they can be a contributor and then be that change that is needed. So my advice to them is stop looking at yourself as inconsequential. You can start from somewhere. You see, leadership is all about believing in yourself. And how do you have a belief in yourself? It's about learning. You learn from where you are. That's your small environment and community. There are huge things for you to learn. There are huge things for you to do. Then also try to be open to feedback. Be open to criticism, because these things will help you. It's your growth. Also, always be ready to learn and relearn, to learn new skills, new communication skills in different ways. And then, above all, be ready to take action.
Right.
So, with this, you begin to build up the confidence and you become confidential, essentially.
Right. When it comes to action, I think that's where many of the youths are a little bit hesitant when it comes to taking action, because we have youths who plan, who have great ideas, great minds, but when it comes to taking action, we are most of the times laid back by our, we look at our inadequacies. But this is an encouragement to me personally, a very, very big encouragement from what you said. Although your own life and also the life of others around us has been a very big encouragement for us, and for me especially. For me, I'm trying to relate with what you have just said, the contribution that you have made. Me coming into this arena would not really be very efficient, and I'm not sure it might be possible if I had not seen you. So you stand as a role model in several areas, and in what you do as well. And I think not just for me, but for many other comrades. For example, you came here as a student so many years ago. You were in Cyprus as a student, and somehow you decided it's time to bring NANS to the table. So you pioneered the movement. So you are able to break the status quo and then start something. And NANS has not achieved all its potential, but at least we are making significant progress. And we are sure that from now and the people that are becoming afterwards, we be living on the legacy that you and the previous comrades have also laid. So it's a good one for us, and we can see example of what you are saying from what you have done in practical sense. So that is a very good encouragement. And I want to also ask Comrade Salim as well, being the second NANS president, what was your greatest challenge as a president of NANS?
It's actually a NANS T1 was we started with a lot of difficulties, with a lot of problems, even to put the structure in place. We had so many problems because even before conducting the first election, there was suspension, there was impeachment of some leaders in the association. So there was a lot of problems because then there was this issue of so much selfish interest in the system. Some people were thinking that at least occupying a very high position in the association is something, I don't know the way they were thinking then, but actually there was too much challenges. But the challenges during my time was not as much as the first administration, because actually the set of people that we came on board with, most of them were people that we did the interim leadership together. So actually the challenges was not that much, but we had challenges of recognition then, because so many of the schools we had issues of them not recognizing the association, despite that we have acceptance or we have recommendation from the presidency. So actually that was the challenges we faced, and we were able to fix some of the challenges. And actually another big challenge was communicating with the embassy too, because we were not having much cooperation from the embassy then, because they see that we have the local associations in our different schools, and not knowing that NANS is just an umbrella of all those associations. So that was the challenges we faced. In any leadership, actually there must be challenges, but the challenges we faced were not that much, as much as that of my elder brother during the first regime, because the challenges we had during the first regime was internal crisis, and internal crisis is really not good for any system. But during our time there wasn't any internal crisis, but it's just the external issues, and we were able to do what we could during that time.
Thank you for your response. I mean, and we've actually seen, being the current president, we've been able to see how your regime has also achieved great level of success. For instance, you mentioned that one of your challenge was non-recognition. But for us, that is not the case. We are not looking, we had no problem going somewhere and then we are being told we are not recognized. This shows how much you and your regime has been able to fight through, and with all, of course, with other regimes that came after you, have been able to solve that problem. I would also want to ask Professor Dr. Sampson on his greatest challenge as a pioneer. So we can learn from it. We know that the challenges you face were really strong, and they will be good for us to learn and to be encouraged by what you have gone through.
Thank you once again. Well, I think, first of all, challenges is good when you love to serve people. So in those times, I believe that the challenges we face something that to understand things better. So when I said understand things better, for example, I've not been in that that kind of move before when it has to do with something that comes with political influences from Nigeria. Because at some point in time we have political influences. The letter came from the presidency. We got to speak with one or two people connected to the presidency. They promise us so much things. Some people come, right on our shoulders in terms of financial. We have to put in our own personal money. Every one of us, it doesn't matter the amount we probably matter about, but we all went through this challenge of finance. And another challenge we went through is the terrain of government of Cyprus to take it to accept it. So myself, comrade Salim, Oshioks, all of us, Justin, comrade Taylor, with very impactful leader. It doesn't matter what people think. So he was also part of us. We went to every nook and cranny of Northern Cyprus, from one university to another, from one government offices, from mayor offices to another. We attempted also to get to the presidency, we got to the foreign affairs, and all of these were another challenge that we have. But like I said, because it's all about service to people, we were enjoying it. Then finally, I think the other challenges we went through was what was already discussed by my comrade, which was the aspect of the internal issues. But what I did, the secret was that made us to be successful. I just put myself on the floor for people to climb. Because my aim is not a position, my aim is for us to have a sustainable association, something that goes beyond the time that we were in at the time. And more so what we did was to ensure that we look beyond just the current challenges in the internal problems we had there. So myself and others, we coordinated with law. We put ourselves on a situation where we tell people it doesn't matter what the position we had, but what matters is the impact that we are going to make from here. Yeah. And as times going on, we were able to forge ahead, and then everybody comes. But there was a time we parted, but I had to go to visit everyone one by one, almost like begging that this must be sustainable, because the idea, just like Salim said, about embassy saying that, but we have local settings in our league. The idea of NANS for it to come into Europe at the time was so that we had a large number of ourselves and coordinated, and even so that we can be able to demand our rights in the place that we stay, so that we can have a formation where we will not be distorted. For example, what happened recently that I was told, a statement that was accredited to the president or to the presidency in Northern Cyprus, it would have just gone like that, or even degenerated to something that would have affect hundreds or thousands of students. Right. But because there has been a structure, not just a structure, student unions, but a structure that is beyond, that is more overwhelming, that presidency has to be even respected in this different country that they are situated, either in Turkey, because I think we also have the annex in Turkey, and I don't know if it's still in this, but these are the reasons and the challenges we go through make us to want to even want to serve more.
Right.
So that's it.
Thank you so much, sir. And we've seen how these efforts have played out. Like you just mentioned, you made reference to the speech of the president, the prime minister of the TRNC, and then how we responded with all, of course, with your assistance and with the assistance of several comrades and executives here and there, and we've been able to receive a response on that. And then we've also seen how your efforts have played out in terms of recognition. Now, the embassy never mentions anything about recognition. In fact, the embassy corresponds to us with that acknowledgement, with a very sound degree of acknowledgement of the association, because somehow you have been able to, and all our other comrades have been able to present the association in a better light. And then from North Cyprus as well, and from the government and everywhere. So I think whatever that we enjoy today is because people like you and several other comrades and executives, some here, some gone, have been able to play roles that we are enjoying today. A wise man also said that I can stand tall and see because I have enough people which I can stand on their shoulders to be able to see further. So thank you so much. We regard to you anytime we have an executive session. We normally regard you and Comrade Salim as ancestors, and some of the other comrades as well. So we refer to you as the ancestors of NANS. So thank you so much for your feedback. The last question I would want to ask each of you is one advice for the youth. Congratulations to Dr. Salim. You, by the way, I forgot to mention that you are blessed with a daughter 2-3 days ago. So congratulations on that, Dr. Salim.
Thank you very much.
What's the advice you would want to give to the youth before we leave?
Yes, my advice to the youth is please, we have to start from somewhere. We all have to go back to our communities. We should go back to our local governments and start from somewhere. We should not underrate any position. We can start from councillorship. At least we should find our way into the system. This is the only way we can change the entire system. Because if we think that we cannot go into the system, if we are eyeing very high positions, it's not easy actually to go for high positions at once.
Right.
So my advice is we should go back to our relatives, at least see with who we can, come together, unite, harmonize, and see how we can go into the system. If people with mindsets can be in the system at local government levels, state levels, and maybe at any level, at least we should go into the system and see how the system is.
Right.
And also my advice is not necessary in terms of positions. We can also start some initiatives, some movements which will be of help to the people. As I mentioned earlier, it's not necessary that you have to occupy a position in leadership before you will be a leader. If you can initiate anything that will support people, believe me, people will push you into the system because they have seen that at least you have done something to them. So this is my advice. At all levels, please, we should go back to our constituencies and we should start building ourselves from there. So this is my advice to youth in general.
Right, thank you so much. So your advice is start small. To our viewers, the advice from Comrade Salim is start small. Whatever that you are, do not despise. If I can just frame what you have said, I would frame it to do not despise the days of starting small or the days of little beginning. Thank you so much on that. And I would pass it on to our greater ancestor, Professor Dr. Samson, to mention his advice to us.
Well, I just would love to build on what Comrade Salim said. Renewing our mind. When our mind is renewed, and then we can carry on with all that was said. Just exactly what is from the local government, the state to the federal level. We need a renewing of mind. Our mind needs to change. We need to take a pause and see where we are now, and that's of insight where we can be. And where we can be means the place we will put our children, our unborn children into. that as default they will come into it. So when we think about that, I think we should have a change of mind and renew our mind to carry out, activities, actions that would negate glory to the name of the country and bring forth solutions that is needed.
Right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you ladies and gentlemen who are viewing. Thank you for staying with us, and we want to appreciate our guests. We want to appreciate all of you for all your advices. Comrade Salim, thank you so much. We celebrate with you and your family over the increase, and to our great ancestor, Professor Dr. Samson, we want to appreciate you. He's actually a father to me. Thank you so much for your guidance and how you have played significant role with the rest of the comrades who have come after you, and to be able to shift NANS to where NANS is today. And we know we are not there yet, but there are several dimensions of lines that we have crossed, and your lives have been able to encourage us to do what we are doing today. So thank you so much. And for our viewers, we appreciate you for your time you spent with us. Yes, we are happy to have you. So we want to appreciate you on behalf of all the executives of NANS. There are a lot of team members who have, in one way or other, support and make sure this. Yes, Comrade Zax, Comrade Evidence. Yes, sir. They are. I'm sure they are viewing now, and they are filled with joy and encouragement as well. So just as we are, and several other executives of this regime as well, very much in awe and in appreciation for you honoring our invitation on this platform. Thank you so much. We appreciate, and to our viewers who have stayed back, please do not forget the advice. For me, one of the advice that stand out is start small. There is something you can do, and let's begin it. Let's start it today. We can achieve and we can turn things in our nations if only we contribute our quota. Thank you so much for having us. Once again, we apologize for starting late due to technical issues. We hope to overcome that in the coming session. So for viewers, if you've not liked the association page, the page on Facebook is National Association of Nigerian Students, TR Zone. And then for Instagram is NANS TR Zone. I am the president of the association. My name is Comrade Gideon Jude, and I'm happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you shortly. Thank you so much to our guests. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.